Hi, everyone. 6 o'clock here on your Wednesday morning. We are halfway through the week. That much closer to the weekend. Jason and Alicia
that
with
much
you.
closer to fall. Official fall. Summer's winding down, and it's going to feel like summer, though, John, at least for the last few days.
It is. I mean, dress accordingly today. It's going to be in the middle 80s, so hot at recess and PE. 60 degrees at the bus stop, kiddos. Like I said, it's still crisp, but this afternoon warming up very, very quickly. So we sit at 61, a little bit of a breeze out of the southeast, but it's keeping us clear. No fog this morning for your commute, and that's been there. It's very common in fall. I'm sure we'll see it again. 53 in Bemidji, 61 right now in Brainerd. Brainerd and Twin Cities, we're right around 60 degrees pretty much everywhere. A little bit of cloud cover. Otherwise, radar is staying very quiet this morning. Rapid warming. So we go from 61 to 68 in an hour or two. Most important time of the day to warm, 10 to noon. We fly up to the 80s and we'll hover there for a while. We will have the breeze at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. You're going to feel it. Changes today, more sunshine. We'll track an update on your weekend rain in a little bit. Megan?
MnDOT is reporting an accident on Highway 55 in Eagan between Lone Oak Road and then Highway 149. So it's kind of tough to see right now. It's dark and there's some flashing lights, but it does look like potentially a police officer here is blocking the roadway there, and we have some flashing lights. So we'll see how this plays out. The MnDOT is saying it's a minor accident, Jason, but something to definitely keep an eye on this morning if you're traveling through Eagan.
All right. Appreciate the heads up there, Megan. Thank you so much. 6:02 on the clock, and it's been almost 2 months since recreational marijuana was legalized here in Minnesota.
And in 12 hours, St. Paul will be voting on possibly banning people from smoking in certain parts of the city, and it would include more than just smoking pot. Cece's at St. Paul City Hall right now with a copy of that ordinance. Cece, what does it say?
Well, the City Council will be meeting at 3:30 this afternoon about this. And just last week at a public hearing about the proposal, a lot of residents spoke for and against the change. So here's what the City Council will be voting on this afternoon. The latest version of this ordinance would ban smoking of any kind in parks and within 25 feet of entrances to public buildings and workplaces. This proposal is stemming from the new state law that legalizes recreational pot. You know, you can now smoke pot inside your home, but it's up to individual cities to decide on smoking in public. Meanwhile, some cities across the state are taking pot rules a step further and issuing cannabis moratoriums. Coming up in about 30 minutes, we'll be breaking that down and telling you what that means. Guys.
All right, Cece, we will check back soon. Thank you. An incredible update this morning to a story we broke down yesterday here on Sunrise. Right after the show, State Patrol told us the drivers involved in a fiery crash near Owatonna are both going to be okay. We showed the moments right before the crash yesterday, but we can show you the rest of it now. You can see that car burst into flames right after crashing into a semi on Highway 14. Amazingly, both drivers somehow walked away without serious injuries. In 30 minutes, we're actually going to hear from the driver who was inside that car. Well, at 10:30 this morning, family and friends will say their final goodbye to an Iowa police officer killed in the line of duty. Hundreds of people gathered yesterday to honor and remember Officer Kevin Cram during his visitation. Cram, a 10-year veteran of the force, was shot and killed while responding to an active arrest warrant in Algona. That's just about an hour and a half from the Minnesota border. Again, the funeral starts this morning at 10:30 in Algona.
In the last 24 hours, we've confirmed Apple Valley and White Bear Lake police departments are pausing their SRO programs. Both departments say it's because of the new state law banning certain restraints on students. In Apple Valley, the police chief says officers will still be around campus every day. And in White Bear Lake, the department will still work closely with the school district and provide officers for home football games. We're tracking a developing story right now out of the Robbinsdale School District. The school board says Superintendent Dr. David Engstrom is resigning. District leaders are calling it a mutual decision. The board has begun its search for a replacement. In the meantime, the assistant superintendent will fill that role.
This morning marks day 6 of the United Auto Workers strike. In a matter of hours, the union is going back to the negotiating table with Ford and GM. In the next 24 hours, they'll meet with Chrysler's parent company, Stellantis. The union says if serious progress isn't made by noon Friday, they will strike at more locations. Well, in the next few hours, there's a big meeting happening in D.C. that will directly impact your finances. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, the Federal Reserve will likely put a pause on interest rate hikes. It comes after months of raising rates to cool inflation. This would mean a break for borrowers looking to get a new credit card or loan to make a big purchase like a car or a home.
6:06, and if you're looking to fill up this morning, we do have some good news for you. In the last 2 hours, AAA released new gas prices, and the average for a gallon of regular here in Minnesota is down a penny from this time yesterday. It's also down here in the Twin Cities as well. If you're stopping to fill up in Hennepin County, it's going to cost you about $3.97. In Ramsey County, it's about $3.94. Now, over in Wisconsin, prices stayed the same in the last 24 hours. It's 29 cents cheaper than in Minnesota, and it's 24 cents less than the national average of $3.87.
Jen at the live desk with information we're just learning that will affect millions of people with severe allergies. So we told you on Sunrise about this new nasal spray. It's called Neffy. It is basically a needle-free EpiPen, huge for people who need one. The drug maker behind it was seeking FDA approval, but we have just learned the FDA is saying, all right, you got to go back to the drawing board. The FDA says they need more research on repeat doses of the drug. So for now, Alicia, this is on hold.
That would have been huge, though. All right, Jen, thank you. It was a banner summer for Minneapolis tourism, with hotel demand this summer up 11% overall from last year. More hotel rooms sold the last week of August than in any week since October of 2019. That during the State Fair, but also the week of Gay Softball World Series. And of course, you can't forget about Taylor Swift and Pride Weekend all in the same weekend. It set an all-time record for our occupied hotel rooms, more than 19,500. It was a great summer in Minnesota. Well, earlier this week, we told you about a new app in Minneapolis that's launching today. It's called Too Good To Go. It makes sure any extra food restaurants and stores have ends up in customers' hands instead of in dumpsters. There are more than 50 vendors participating with the app, including Jason's favorite, T-Rex cookies.
Woo.
The businesses are going to put together bags of food that will be sold for a third of the original price. Customers can then use filters in the app for dietary restrictions and allergies. But it's a great app. Download it if you can.
I'm going to be